Hey guys, it's Rebecca, and today I'm going to be talking about more relatable points related to composition, except this time it's going to have more of a focus on sharing your music online. As you can see, I do and have been doing for a pretty long time. You may remember I was working on a MuseScore community video that's been taking like forever. Like I've been working on it literally since August, and frankly, I don't even know if I'm going to finish it because animation is literally so time consuming that like at this point I really don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. And at the same time, I don't really like what I've said in that video that much anymore, so I'm probably gonna split it into this video, which is gonna talk about sharing your music online in general, and maybe another one which probably will talk about like my own personal experience with MuseScore, sharing my music on MuseScore, and that kind of stuff. They may or may not have overlap. I don't know at this point, but I just feel like making a video right now. So yeah. So for the most part, my experience with sharing my music online has been really positive. It's been really encouraging seeing everyone's comments on my videos and on my scores on MuseScore. It's really nice, especially when you come home after a long day and you see someone's posted a comment on your music, and it's really nice. And then I don't know, it just means so much to me that like I've been an inspiration to some people. And yeah, it's just overall it's been really positive, and it's really nice receiving all the constructive feedback as well. And honestly, if I could summarize sharing your music online in a minute and a half, that would be the end of it, literally. Like, it's overall a really good experience. But I also want to cover, I guess, a couple tips for sharing your music online, or at least what I think are good tips for sharing your music online. As well as some hopefully relatable points about it, because I know a lot of people who watch my videos are also people on MuseScore who create music or are YouTube musicians. All right, so let's get into it. So after talking to a couple people who have also mentioned sharing the music online, I've noticed a general trend between like, I guess, frequently asked questions, and I guess the two most brought up topics are one, hate, and two, plagiarism. So I guess it can be really scary if you're posting your music on a site or posting your music online for the very first time, because it's basically putting up your music for the entire world or everyone that comes across it to judge it and maybe judge it negatively, especially if you're a brand new composer. But the truth is, hate, at least in my experience, has been pretty rare, because I've gotten probably about 20 hate comments on my scores ever, and I've gotten hundreds of positive comments, and it's really nice. Like even with the 20 hate comments, at that point you'll probably have already realized that those who post hate comments really have nothing better to do with their lives than put down fellow musicians. They don't really care about you improving. Like, they're literally just there to hate. They probably didn't even listen to your piece. Like, if they really wanted you to improve, they probably wouldn't write something so mean. They probably actually say it in a constructive way so you take their advice. But basically, the thing I'm trying to say is haters gonna hate. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not your problem, it's theirs. And frankly, they probably aren't that smart either, because based on my experience, most of them don't know how to use a spacebar, or that there's a thing that exists called grammar. So judging by that, they probably don't have a lot of credibility. Yeah. On the other hand, plagiarism is more of a problem among the music community than hate, in my opinion. It happens a lot more often than I guess I'm comfortable with. Like, I've actually been kind of disheartened about the level of plagiarism that's been going on, but I mean, at the same time, if you share your music online, there's always going to be a risk of your music getting taken by some lowlife who thinks they can pass your work off as theirs and get all the praise for it. It's a really damaging thing that happens in the music community, and I know some people who have chosen not to share their music online just because of incidences of plagiarism. It's never your fault if you get plagiarized, but unfortunately, it's just the sad truth for musicians. If you're going to post your music online, I think you should be aware that there is a risk that it will get stolen. Don't make an excuse and say, oh, but my music isn't good enough. I mean, I thought that until I got stolen from, so yeah. But at the same time, I feel like all the positive exposure I've been getting is totally worth it. Dealing with plagiarism is really, really annoying, and it really makes me mad because I hate it when people take credit for my stuff, but I still feel overall it's pretty worth it. Well, let's say you made a profile on some music platforms such as MuseScore, YouTube, or something else, and you're wondering how can you get traction, how can you get people to view your music? Well, I'm just gonna have to be really honest with you right now. When you first start off, for the first few weeks maybe, you'll pretty much get no views. It's pretty much universal for most, or at least the vast majority of composers out there, especially if you post only original music, because no one's gonna think about searching for you because no one even knows who you are, and even if they do find you, what are the chances of a person wanting to spend time listening to an original piece by some random person on the internet that they don't even know and probably won't see again? I don't know. It's pretty low. So Yeah. But one thing is not to get too hung up on traction, followers, and views and the like, because really, it's not a good measure of your compositional ability. There's like a lot of factors that impact how many followers you get. But I mean, if you really do want followers, I guess the main thing is just to be active on wherever you are, and I guess focus on writing your music, and then whoever likes your music will see your profile a lot on the site and, will maybe check it out. But again, I used to be super hung on my followers, especially between 0 and 100 followers, ironically. um, yeah, but follower count usually depends on a lot of factors, most of which have absolutely nothing to do with compositional ability, such as how active on the platform you generally are, how involved you are in community posts, how often you post music, how long you've been on the platform, how often you shitpost, how often you advertise your music in the community, what kind of music you write, how often you post arrangements of pop music, your general behavior and etiquette in the community, how long your pieces of music tend to be, how searchable your titles are, what instruments you write for, what your compositional workflow looks like, and what do you have in your life that makes it so that you can only spend a certain amount of time writing music or posting. Basically what I'm saying is it's totally expected for the person who posts pop arrangements that are widely in demand several times a week to get more followers than another person who posts in a obscure genre once a month. So in short, follower count isn't really a good measure of how good you are as a composer at all. Even if you're trying really hard to get more views, more followers, to try and get your music out there, sometimes general demand for music just doesn't line up with your personal musical tastes. Like, let's say you like to compose Baroque music. Well, the demand for pop music is way higher than Baroque music, so someone who makes pop music will naturally get more views than you, given that you guys are both trying to get your music out there. That doesn't make you any worse of a composer than that pop composer, it's just that more of the general population likes to listen to pop music than Baroque music. It doesn't make their music any better or your music any worse. This is not to discredit the achievements of the amazing composers out there that manage to gain a lot of traction from their music. Um, Obviously, if you're an amazing composer, then obviously a lot of people would want to listen to your music and subscribe to you and all that. I'm just trying to say in most cases, it's generally not a good idea to let follower count or traction or whatever get to your head, whether it's positive or negative. Yeah, I mean, I guess I used to care a lot about my followers than I'd like to admit. Yeah, and it was pretty cringy. So, yeah, if you've managed to get a lot of traction, congratulations to you. Congratulations on your music. But just wanted to say that follower count, traction, views, likes, whatever, comments, it does not define you as a composer because there are a lot of factors that can influence that count. Um, Please don't let it get to your head. Yeah. That's basically the main point here. Generally, it's a pretty bad idea to spend a lot of time on social media, whether it's a music platform or something else, just for the sole purpose of followers. I guess that's why I'm putting so much emphasis on this. Yeah. Anyway, that's generally what I wanted to say about sharing your music online. Like, those are pretty much the main points. But I mean, there's still a lot of, I guess, little random relatable points that I also want to share here. So let's get into that. So you know that crappy cringy piece you wrote like 3 years ago that you can't even listen to without cringing? We probably all have one of those. And then someone goes on that piece and comments, "This is absolutely amazing. This is the best piece ever." And then you're just like, I'm flattered you think that, but you think that is amazing? But the thing is, I often like to compare music and art. Like, if you draw, you probably all have those moments where your friend is like, "Whoa, that is the best drawing I've ever seen," but then you're just like, "I see this flaw here, that flaw there, this is done wrong, blah blah blah." I feel like it's the same thing with music. I feel like, especially when other people who aren't as familiar with your music, like, they see what your non-drawer friend sees, and meanwhile you're just like, "I can't stand listening to this." So yeah, I guess in this case, it's what they say, you are your worst critic. Yeah. Then there's also those moments where you get comments in your scores saying, "Oh my god, I wish I composed like you." And then you go visit their scores and it's like, "You wished you composed like me? Don't you realize how good you are? I wish I composed like you." Um, Obviously, it's really hard to tell, like, who's the actual quote unquote superior person. Like, usually neither. But I guess my theory for that is, like, you're generally familiar with the type of music you write. Well, they're familiar with the type of music they write. So to you, your style is really easy to come up with. It comes to you really naturally. Meanwhile, their ideas sound a lot more new and innovative to you. But for them, it's probably the reverse. Like, they hear your music and they think it's a really innovative idea and it's hard to come up with. So, I guess naturally you would appreciate what sounds newer and more innovative than, I guess, what you yourself come up with, because that just feels natural to you. So, I guess that explains a lot of cases where two composers can't agree on who's the better one. Another thing that happens is what you think is your best piece may not be your most popular piece. In fact, something that you didn't even put a lot of effort in might end up being really popular, while that one piece that you worked really hard on might not get a lot of attention at all. I guess it has more to do with popular demand. Again, I guess like over the time I've been sharing my music online, I've noticed that people generally like really simple, slow piano solos, often sad piano solos as well. I guess I'm one of those minorities that prefer fast, loud, and happy major key music. Well, generally when I go around asking around, most people generally say they prefer sadder music in minor keys, which I usually don't do. And I can see that in my music statistics as well. Like, there's a piece I wrote called Rainfall. That was written in one day. I was relatively brain dead when I was writing it. Um, in fact, after I wrote it, like I wasn't even that happy with it. I was just like, yeah, whatever. I suck at writing slow music. Blah. And then that ended up being one of my most popular original compositions. And in my opinion, that piece is not my favorite, but obviously in the eye of the public, in people who view my music, it's a more popular, better style than I guess most of my other pieces. I guess Rainfall's actually grown on me quite a bit since then, so I actually really like it now, but I mean, it's still not necessarily my favorite piece. But you know, people are gonna like what they like, you know, like your 5-minute improvisation might be someone else's jam, while your ultimate magnum opus is just their meh. Alright, so that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, but just before I wrap it up, I just got one more thing to say. So basically, I was wondering what you guys wanted to hear about being a composer or anything about my personal workflow or like any of my music or like anything like that. So basically, I'm gonna be open for video requests. What would you like to hear me talk about? What would you like to see out of this channel? So yeah, if you have any ideas or anything you want to hear about, please drop it below in the comments because I'd really like to see them. Again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out my Patreon. You can get all my piano sheet music there, and all the proceeds go to Partners in Health Canada in support of COVID-19. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm doing a face reveal at 1,000 subscribers, so stay tuned for that. I'm really hoping to reach there soon. And that's it for today, so I hope you have a really nice rest of your day, and bye-bye.